Nyame adam ma yekuram. Amena mu ayeti hu die. Baby ayetu to grow. Amena ban. Na ai ma de na ekoso nkrata na de na moka.
Enkrata hodo ya aba. Emu nsemi kwa the Herald Dobokata two stands eye na gina ye. Na wose si ade amena ba kwa ne boye den won kan ha. West Africa nyina so. Wo Ghana ha. Ya tese asofo bebre akasa wo ho.
That's right.
TUC omodo aba beka ho. Ni nyina ye boga okude tabla kwa. National Cathedral
but the dressing wa America hono dey change you. Watch a potos yaka potos awunim President of the United States of America. What do you say?
Enti o say edin kan $400 million akum National Cathedral yehu bebia akosi amana enko na yetu amaye eno ho asem na Dobokate ede sama ne bono eba nti ono de o stress wo amana ne ho esa amana ne boye de tokuru a ne boye de pa
akoshe tokurum Ghana si Ghana koshe tokurum
into sama ne bono
Herald unya obetuma kinkan
then Daily Graphic Dobokata treat and akwesi every day aye na gina ye na no so o say galamse when ye Timothy 9be and the trade by say galamse asay yensa ne ye kwaya hodo wo ye memu na beye kwaye branchu makoma kwadua sanan 34 ewo ye memu na te say emu beye hectares 4,700 4,700 hectares
forest reserves kwaya ye kura no
sa ena galamse asese ni
aduasa 9 emu aduasa 9
yes
ena galamse ase no
ase ni nyina
etika professor from Pombo atia dia ma bontia anka ngomo ye bedi
we ya mane bofofro ya forestry commission womo edia ba womo say forest reserves anasa kwaya branch ahodo ya esa galamse ya kano ebi ewa santemantemu epoe mantemu atoye tifi enfimfiri mantemu savannah ene apa east region ndese samantema hodun ena galamse no asese kwaye ebo ho eti ye ka oda river ebi aka ho apaprama sube empotemo ebi aka ho asantemantemu afi tonton totua ni nyina ebi aka wo mo watoye mantemu ena fe tano nimiri se wukai akontafo afawo hills forest reserve and so toye tifi mantem emu ye bi aka wo mo ebo ho we nyina ye so afo hwe sase bobre ne ho nsam
maybe ana asoya na se John wo no and yes se John your problem
forest
Emma gadam sense okay
eti abugina pona odin nsam etudwa meet the press Dwabo Ase ena walker sa ensem we nyina say galamse baby ade edu
Forest Commission nanka some more questions year no ye den na say John apen so mo ma kwan sa manfo nwura forest reserves mu ye den
nkoye gala
was how we send for nche mu o manya no
na nanie galanie
amane bonie obada reporters
na be cheap kata fata sidumiensa Donald atda patam trade free amasaman ne baye o saman pani akufo adwenra o pa adwumade bi ho entoma ya wen ye assembly plant ya yapa ho ntoma de ama kia omo ye cars kia eti omo baba ye cars ama Ghana and West Africa edwani nyina nti se wo pekia ka to ewo bibrim atoye foma obeba Ghana na waba abeto
etikia ai abrochi adwuma no eno ma bebi o munkrabata wo Ghana eno ma fa Ghana fo ena wo ye adwuma ma eye kiafo yi na sika ne mfasodie ne ba ayeden okay so this is the
it was sending money
thinking outside the box
250 ebenya adwuma ye na eguso koso anso no enchen die emabube 300 enye adwuma ye na ye hwe ne mkwan se one more assemble cars no ewo ha afibia ye betumi aye 30,000 afibia nti te sa afi wenya 30,000 cars omo ebeye wo ye man
yeah ba ne bo no ebeba forma
ye keka e de bo ada assembly plants ahodo ye wo ye man mu na chesa afibia 100,000 vehicles and ye beye e wo Ghana ha na sanya asem keto
yate
na wo ka bo asem no na ye bisew ye betumi
ato de
san say Ghana ha ye tumi ka affordable housing so bebi ase na sikafo na tim
what do you say
ahiafo de enkamo eti sa cars ye bebi ase ne bo enye den ye betumi ato bia na ye bisa Mrashabedwane kwa asetena enra putupuru mu no loans ya boso $750 million ena womodo monsa shase aban so opesa abosia no e de ne djuma eno so ode ho
djuma be ya
se COVID-19 de eka ho
matisa digital de ben de baby
na apomuden atena ye nso ho nsam ne
se ye de besi asupiti anasa de se ye de ba be mam national health insurance scheme na
sakrasi etumi ye ma eba na healthcare delivery etume koso
kama well da bia ye ka say abrofo say ya
chronicle crowd or pensem mu nti ye de beba Ghanaian Times the book at most authoritative newspaper Nigeria ye ene dwumadi amampane akufo adokopa ho ntoma say kiafo eba be ye o cars amaye enya bi atwi no wode eno ama ne bo eba ye na galamse nso aja enam so ama yensa ase ye kwaye asese ne no so emu amanebo eba na attorney general tan say womo eba be prosecuting nipa be anase cases makomako 119 ewo omanyi emu amanebo nko a ababeto womo ena so ye nipa 727 ena womo ho hyemu bi galamse eho nsi
when question me wo bisa eti sankanya prof ade ya akase won ye beka che ke hu be ba be hiama say attorney general be ba be to dwa say enipa dodo say ena ye be prosecute mo based on galamsey nsensem and asem na be share
I'm confused commission man boni mu pa ono abugina pona akoka meet the press na o che say wo mo ye galamsey no omo oban bofo a wo mo bo mo ho ban enya asem ya na prof ba be kai
omo ban bofo it will confirm
sir
as aban bofo no wana de ma omo
eno ne asem bisam wo ban bofo a bo mo ho ban prof ama ne bo mu nso kan ye ene o ka mo so oboa enso na mo confirm you
companies ne ba kwa na max o mama eye adwuma mo mo no a wo fam wu ye no
sir
wo mu din ye boy wo prof a report
mu
yeah there fa
enta sama prof kan ye die enya de a ye be fa ne tra keke eye no kre no wo ka ono wo nsu ase no wa be ka se sasabro a chema me wata wo se obo
ojina chini
obo asen the chronicle do bokata the true independent say na gina ye na abugina meet the person ase na say wo mo ye galamsa wo mo feel so wo mo de wo mo awie no my pani akufo ado beto wo mo so
I said say
when a historic ebin sida ewo Ghana bakose mu say galamsey say etumi amene wo man na enya sa ban ye ho hwu aban gusu di ho dwuma na nso nipai wo ma ya so brache
nipa ban
enya o ma ye galamsey no
hwan ya wo bubo di prof abubo di bi said din wo de ye den
was a challenge Kesee pa di ama ben enya aban ye ho hwu otu na mo nso nkofo na so odin
how
eti wogusu a wo ye na emepamu no ye better wo mu nyina so
I say IGP
I say cartel galamsey no say cartel
IGP I say drevo je wa ga akronfo no mo so odin di eti bi ji wo
esa IGP ni so a wa bon na mo ho sa wo de procedure aye ne sa yes sese e wo dan pare boys e wo emunti no bra kwa me se ye wo bosombe mu
ye memu
nti se mei na ya bo abaso nti wo ye ASP ayese wo ye DSP enu next year May ni asabo abaso bio ese wo fi DSP a wo ko supo no na Mrashabedwane nso loans abakwa me omo ekoje etu mu no Chronicle Wachachimu, Ghana COVID-19 Emergency Preparedness and Response Projects, and no year $60,600 US dollars. Hey, no, so yeah, then almost the two, and I face $150 million, and also almost the finance West Africa Food System Resilience Program, and 170 million euros, and also almost the support to Development Bank of Ghana say ye establish or hinte and no more man bo and no the informer nothing but the truth say in the jina ya. Hey, what's it? One more dear man bobia bow menka. Okay. We or say EIU and the buy Economic Intelligence Unit and almost saying this summer you call 2024 about 20 dear. And Kunmudi no wo at the mama. Okay. Name just some salmon. More flag bearer.
Yeah, you can or hefa.
Oh, man, about the buy.
What's Kratafa cry? Yeah, you can.
Maybe I'm in Kanu or say, Obiasa Dr. Dufo Neko. Ain't no say, according to EIU, no. Say answer some for Dr. Dufo Madia. Not just say ye be dear doc no quite.
Yeah, you can win.
Or someone will be or more.
Ayo yate.
Or more diabetes. Almost to Ghana Hana.
Almotia. No, any professor could be mensa Casa was it? Omo ma yom ho asi wanyina so mo pe franka tu ni dibre wo NDC amayoko obia okay, but then again so hwe o my Ghana sabre ene baby ayede ani akire di amanfo ka fa jomama stand it tall.
What I say enti when ye no mo nete ha o ye ne yete ye ja ho ne enum said ye esi hyehye ye fa ene ye se man pani mahama na eko mo ha ne say
prof a political marketing strategist
na bakwam ye service Republic President Bokata me papa to Asian Capital Bank yay ne ho ya chi no san say Attorney General say ne adu de agese ye de ne tum o say na no court ho ensam ne Capital Bank ni goe ho ye de ne kodwina court no 90 million Ghana cedis yes wo tua na ode tum so obetua ne nkakrakra na nia edin kan a ese wo tua no na eye April busun that to say do no 20 million Ghana cedis and is wo tua ma ban and want to mean tria and then so a date you saying May
3
it's not to say and the Attorney General say near ye just see the nekotu
obi hu no mobo
sa enenu
I'm on for this get chance obo na mo fidi
mama na mo free it's where they yesrepa a special prosecutor say one more air hwehwe Professor Frimpong Boatin Semino Imamana board the buy say na ye de besia anopedia na mechia Beatrice Fiasan to Adekum Obo Mudomia
Royal Ladies Papa B
what May 13 on baying in fair ammo so and Joycelyn Tete North Diabatum Pistias we are too much or not back on no boy Ricopuku
what ye or shame metin and catch Ghana 14 and catch
it's honorable yet na papa no one Memphis Central on so you're too much of Quachaka
ono so menini sia ya che yet no
it's honorable ya no sia ya cha sa wa wotiase ane
I will show you so
it's honorable wa wotiase why able to senya is Dinatate
that's right
Kaswan Potamo yet ya one no pay we too much on cry honorable dada it's honorable nyamenka yet ya obi na
imam da say so the Mfonyin Kesee abrɛ na no pay with Dwabo Ase Power 97.9 kai say e bono twipa mu pepepa yene the honorable member of parliament for Buem constituency Honorable Kofi Idi Adams yene ne betena say na yedi nkomo won ye see ye wo Ghana mrahye bedwafie babeka say mesakio ebe mo ai be ma ankasa be ma usisi mu ago ahoden ne kwa mesakio na make am for amount Kulum Ghana Limited for na year omo East Legon Champion Junction kai say wo madro ya ye friend Misaki yi okọ Nana Boache heba wo okaishia ubenya bia to Jukat Pharmacy e wo Kaswa Tigo office in Chemu wa and a face of Pharmaceutical Pharmacy in Kaswa Unicom Chemist on Malam Junction Ekus Pharmacy e wo Shaman Gillette Pharmacy e wo Tesano Dampon Pharmacy of Spintex and a Palace Pharmacy e wo Dankwa Circle hey Renee Pharmacy in Suwa Selam down to say them kind of Kulum Ghana Limited omo na ye Misaki yi Jomanchakwa easily gone a Champon Junction from 0244 139 176 and a 0204 139 176. Prosafic capsules a dro tatahia Solag Natural Clinic and the Abadramaswa Ebwa Memma Titriu Sadabaya Ubeti Johnson Boko Bema wa Johnson watching Bema Johnson na ebi susuagu ne boxer shorts mu Bema wa Johnson na se bia kem wa Johnson na dada na ho obadwen sem frama bi na ebo Johnson na to atwe no yade bi o prostate no atochew bo prostate ho ban se bia ne mi kan ebi nyanka wa na ye bema na wutie me na wadi mfie aduasa ene akira ko Prosafic capsules anom se de be obebo prostate no ho ban na wati ma Johnson boko nso Zebman capsules so bebo ama hoode abetena wo mu bema na wati ma wura ni afra mi wura wase panyan wo bete dene Zebman capsules no and afenso Solag mixture infections ahodo a edi wunya bema ni oba infections ahodo edi munya odi ane Solag mixture aso trying for Solag Natural Clinic what jitum say quality first from 0245 616 028 0245 616 028 Solag Natural Clinic quality first. Afeso Bedema Herbal Center na daw ma wo sente shewa no obetime to asia de oyin ani Kodesh powder no answer de wo aka ho Kodesh powder fa e wo ka ho ebetu nte shewa asma ase ebedma atma na kokra and afeso Bedema garlic bitters aye de prekesa ne garlic aye eboa ma moja ne de afurusane eboa ma hoode abetena wopom na pomuden nsem ne tiba konanim ama mfasudie papa se obetene waye adwuma no etima ba wabrabo mu and Bedema ladies capsules so enka emwa edi ahimfie honya wo madra ne Bedema ladies capsules tobi ma yire tobi ma wuni baby tobi ma sister bi no nya hoto wate big man capsules bema o big man seven nya kasa tenten enya afi na obeto ade wa ebra so se ebekọ agoprama no so afi na obeto ade afi na wudwa wanum bema agro ne fam wo de ane big man capsules bema sisi ni mo aye den woni vie du nwotwe adro imensi ho and 24 bit one for 027242 2242 and a 0248 288788. Kaise Okaishi Draglen Ubo Ura Mabenya enro nyina bia to 21st Clinic Adama ene watiga na nim e say wo hwe wiase afa na nyina ayaresabia owa asuye ya wagye ato no ho so se wo bedi sciatica yade ne hojuma eye 21st Clinic wo bibi mamu ayaje o matum enti na chirije bia nim se na no yebo mamba so Kigali Rwanda Mountains 21st Clinic me kan fama wa wo hwe me wa wo tie me sciatica yade na yade ben so to asintini edidi mu ko na onamuro mu ho no oyaw na wo tie no sciatica Fagot 21st Clinic Dr. Blessed Foster nene do mo my crowd so merel yade bia so akam bia no betimi de akodan omo nkrabata no burudun gwotwe e wo man Ghana ha betimi from 0540 311 311 0540 311 311 21st Clinic sciatica expert. Mama found Raspinters Road, now your Raspinters Road, and why you're the fisa, a mountain in the Omania, gentle step mother care. If it's a gentle step mother care, Nangas and way bad time, it will near Martin FM, I my Ghana. Said bad time, but also said Nanu Yahoo, but also saw Basanqua Juma. Now we'll put breast pumps, Nanu Yad, Yokotoi, Yanu with the AB. Well, yes, I will use one at the top form. Mr. Bouda, gentle step mother care. When your breast pumps biato, baby diapers, papa baby, and the boss sounds waffle. When your biato, I was gentle step mother care. And I feel so baby near a short toe. Bouda gentle step mother care. One gasa one tadia, when you couldn't answer when you were Montadia in Ambenya biato, I was gentle step mother care. And I feel so Korea kaka crabby, no matter a penny in fear so. Woman tadia, a dose so poor, a good gentle step mother care. Ya said that crab for your mama would was so. Na ne bono so wo fam fi say mama gentle some mother care when him to be a Ghana for wom. Oh yeah, twice and grande beji at the beji many say tricycles, bicycles. When you be a gentle some mother care or Slintex or Ben Pogas furniture. Yeah, and on the Absa Bank no need any from 0244 238-477 and 0245 681-085. Gentle Step Mother Care. We'll see your family partner for kids, teens, and you. Abana Trapa on Simanson, Yamonito, na Yamura, Let's Talk Education Consult. But Mamma, we to Facebook Live, Power 979, TVXYZ, or share live. Yeah, Danny and Wamba, your normal be a person at the show. Really, ways to see my.
Exclusively on HD Plus channel 115.
Score HD, the new exciting football channel, is now available only on HD Plus and brings you football from around the world. Watch Sadio Mane and Daniel Kufitre in the top weekly match of the Bundesliga 1 and DFB Cup, Primera Liga, Copa de la Liga Profesional. See Ronaldo in the Saudi Pro League, as well as daily sports news every other hour. Also, get updated on Messi and Mbappe on PSG TV and many more. Feely on HD Plus channel 151. Agronaede HD Plus, the Feely experience.
Ifo kra na menyisika etia ye mefui.
Ehin fa na menya bosia edia tre medwuma yimu.
Kai kra mabre menya bosia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Yamamwa kwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodo bi te sɛ dwadifoɔ bosia, akuokuro bosia, susu account, ɛne da so wɔ hɔ savings account, me bada chain savings account, ɛne de akeka ho. Suhum Rural Bank was 034229186. Na won so wetumi aka sɛ
Suhum Rural Bank ama ene mayeka owner.
Suhum Rural Bank enti me pa minie.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
Mr. Speaker, we are recalled for an emergency sitting. Mr. Speaker, if you are to look at what we've done today, largely we came here to approve loans. In total, Mr. Speaker, today we have Parliament of Ghana has approved an amount of $710 million US. Today, $710 million US. Mr. Speaker, at the time the country is in debt distress. At the time, 710 million. Mr. Speaker, at the time that the country is in debt distress, defaulted in debt repayment, both domestic and external. Mr. Speaker, if care is not taken, this simple act will go into the Guinness Book of Records. Mr. Speaker, I say this for a simple reason that when you are in a hole, you have to stop digging. But this government will never stop digging. And they keep digging and digging and digging. Mr. Speaker, that is my concern, and that is why I'm saying we will go to Guinness Book, we will go into the Guinness Book of Records. As the only country on earth, where at the time that they are in debt distress, they keep continuing, they keep digging and adding on to the debt. And adding on to the debt. I hope and pray that they will learn from it going forward. But let it be noted, that minority, the NDC minority, voted against those laws. Let it be noted. And let them carry their own.
Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, as I peruse the committee's report, significant information missing. And my advice to the Finance Committee will be next time to help this House to take a decision that guides what goes to them as a committee. Now, we have been called upon to approve $150 million United States dollars to finance West Africa Food System Resilience Program. In your report, the allocations component, regional food market integration and trade, $24.79 million US dollars. Then component 4, contingent emergency response component, you find of that 150 million, what is the breakdown? What goes where and for what? You have not done that. That is not helpful to this committee. Even though the memorandum that accompanied it provided you with that particular detail. It's important that we know, because that will respond to the brilliant issue raised by the Honorable Eric Opoku, that we are borrowing to combat food insecurity. What aspect of food insecurity? We are borrowing to expand production of food. How are we going to expand the production of food? But Mr. Speaker, my germane issue why I'm contributing to this report, that Mr. Speaker, the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, represented by its 275 elected MPs, even at this age and time of unprecedented economic difficulty arising out of excessive borrowing, which comes at cost to the Ghanaian taxpayer, the Parliament of Ghana is being called upon to approve a loan amount of 150 million US dollars. Mr. Speaker, today, Ghana is not only debt distress. We are currently between 98 to 103% of debt to GDP ratio, of borrowing to the level of 576 billion to 600 billion Ghana cedis. That this House is not minded that there must be a stop to borrowing. There must be. And this House must provide that leadership for the Ghanaian people. We must say no to further borrowing by Nana Addo Akufo-Addo and by Ken Ofori-Atta. This House must stand strong in saying that we will not approve of any additional borrowing. Whether it's concessionary is what you have willed the economy to the nadir of failure, and therefore coming to ask for additional borrowing, that the Parliament of Ghana is comfortable to grant approval for a loan when you have borrowed to over close to 100% of GDP. Where does this happen? The US Congress is looking at a debate on debt ceiling to ensure that the United States doesn't run out of foreign currency. This House, I have said it before, if the majority leader will recall, even this Parliament must make sure that as a rule of thumb into the future, not just this administration, governments will come and go, presidents will come and go, there must be a debt ceiling in this country. And we all must agree to a debt ceiling that no president, no government should exceed 65 or 70% of GDP at all times. And it should be a rule of thumb. I'm not saying that apply it only to Nana Addo today or Ken Ofori-Atta. But this Parliament cannot sit aloof and don't reflect the concern. Look, businesses are collapsing. Investors are moving out of this country. And you are still borrowing. For what? What the Honorable Eric Opoku is demonstrating is that you could have been borrowing this 150 to expand irrigation infrastructure. If you are going to Amate in the eastern region, or in Prem in the central region, or Kamba in the upper west region to do irrigation, we will police how this money is used. You are saying, Mr. Speaker, I now read a portion of the committee's report for you. And Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I go to the page 6. The project is aimed at strengthening national capacity to provide demand-driven digital advisory services. Is this what Ghanaian farmers are looking for? A demand-driven digital advisory services? No. They are looking for cheaper inputs. They are looking for cheaper fertilizer. They are looking for cheaper seedlings. If you are borrowing for that purpose, you can count on us. Then, Mr. Speaker, you go fighting food insecurity in Ghana. And again, Mr. Speaker, when the Honorable Eric Opoku raised this matter during budget debate, it was ignored. At some point, he was even asked to withdraw it. And Mr. Speaker, I conclude with it. Page 3 of your committee's report. It reads, and I quote, according to the World Food Programme for Security Highlights, West Africa Issue 2, May 2021, the number of individuals experiencing food insecurity in Ghana is expected to be 1 million for the months of January to May 2021. We have not even been given the statistics for 2022 and 2023. So, Mr. Speaker, my argument is that this parliament must reflect the suffering of the Ghanaian people. This parliament must reflect the distress that Ghanaian banks are going through. This parliament must reflect the distress that the private sector and Ghanaian businesses are going through and provide a ceiling for government borrowing. And that excessive borrowing comes at a cost to the taxpayer. Indeed, for us in Ghana today, it comes as a cost, even to the peril of our economy, which has been run, as I said, to the narrative of failure. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
This House will recall vividly during the debate when I raised the issue about food insecurity, looming food insecurity, as captured in the budget. And our colleagues on the other side challenged that was factual inaccurate and that Ghana had no signs of food insecurity. Mr. Speaker, this is a good program, a very important program, but we have to look at where the resources, the amount we intend to borrow are going, where the resources are going. Mr. Speaker, if you want to produce more food, hello, hi, Mr. Speaker, if we intend to increase food production in Ghana, the first thing we have to do is to look at challenges confronting our farmers, hindering food production in our country. The first one is the high cost of farming inputs. The high cost of inputs. The cost of fertilizer, which used to be around 100 cedis, is now hovering around 400, 500 cedis. And the subsidy that was placed on it has been reduced from 50% to 50%. So if we are borrowing to increase production, how will the amount you are taking going to impact on the cost of inputs so that every farmer who wants to produce and produce quantities beyond consumption can even have access to these inputs? But when you look at the items listed here, the $150 million we intend to borrow, Mr. Speaker, we are saying that we want to use that money to control pests, pest control, to provide information on climate. Meanwhile, we are doing rain-fed agriculture. And because we don't have enough irrigation facilities, agriculture here is seasonal. When the rain is over, we don't have any form of agriculture here, just because we don't have irrigation facilities. And there is no provision here that part of these resources will be used for the provision of irrigation facilities for our farmers. So how is this money going to address the challenges confronting our farmers? When you look at all the issues raised here, it appears that the money is going to be expended in the offices, but not on the field, to make impact on food production. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, some of us are saying that, yes, the report states clearly that over 1 million Ghanaians Let me read. According to the World Food Programme's Food Security Highlights, West Africa Issue 2, May 2021, the number of individuals experiencing food insecurity in Ghana is expected to be 1 million for the months of January through May 2021. 1 million. So what we need to do is to look at where these monies are going. How will the farmer benefit from these facilities? The farmers who have to produce the food. Is it going to provide irrigation? Is it going to reduce the cost of input for them? Then we are talking about creating markets. We are unable to produce enough food for our people. We import a lot to supplement local production. And we are talking about creating market. Market for what? Give the resources to the farmers. Give them the money. This House approved a facility of 400 million to de-risk agricultural loans so that the banks can provide loans to our farmers. We approved it here, 400 million Ghana cedis. As of today, what is the impact of that facility? How many of our farmers have benefited from that? And today, we have been called to come and approve a facility to increase food production. And then when you look at how the money is going to be utilized, it appears that all the $150 million will be expended from the offices. Office, no impact on food production. Mr. Speaker, this House cannot continue to approve borrowings every day without impacting on the development of our people. So what we need to do is that after all the borrowings we have made, people ask us, you are in parliament, you approved the loans, so why are you still complaining? Mr. Speaker, this time around, we have to make sure that every person that is approved for good purpose. And so until that is provided for Parliament to know that the money we are approving is indeed going to enhance food production and is putting in place mechanisms that will ensure increase in food production. Mr. Speaker, we cannot support this particular motion. Mr. Speaker, I'm saying this against the background that under the Council for Food and Jobs, every year we approve large amounts of money to support that program. But unfortunately, they will tell you that they have supplied 300,000 tons of fertilizer. We have supplied this quantity of improved seeds. At the end of the day, food production is still low. We introduced Council for Food and Jobs, pumped a lot of resources into this program. Intention to increase maize production, intention to increase rice production, so that we can reduce rice import. We can reduce maize import. Today, rice import is still rising. We are still importing maize. Our poultry farmers are crying everywhere for maize during the lean season. And Mr. Speaker, when you go to Ghana Buffer stock as we speak, Ghana does not have anything in the form of food as buffer. So in case of any emergency today, the whole country will perish. In spite of all the noise we have made about Council for Food and Jobs. And Mr. Speaker, today, we are saying that we need $150 million so that we can make food available for all Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, this money, if we have to approve this money, we must be convinced that this money is indeed going to the farmer who produces the food. It is going to provide them the facilities. It is going to give them what they need, the tools required to increase food production. We started work on the Kwalugu project, the Kwalugu irrigation dam. The idea was to provide irrigation to increase rice production. The soil cutting ceremony was done by His Excellency. All the chiefs within the enclave were brought together. His Excellency stood on the platform and announced to the whole country that after this project, agriculture is going to be revolutionized. Rice production will be increased significantly, and there wouldn't be the need for us to import rice. Mr. Speaker, 5 years within the project period. The project is supposed to be completed within 5 years. This is supposed to be the last year. And Mr. Speaker, even mobilization to enable the contractor mobilize to site, we have not paid. We haven't paid. The project is abandoned. And today we are approving this facility not for irrigation. We are talking about data to advise farmers on climate. I mean, who developed this concept? the concept to advise farmers on climate changes, as if we have irrigation facilities all over, and therefore if you advise them, they can say that, oh, then we can do it in March, we can do it in May, we can do it in July. That is not the system in place now. We depend solely on the weather. So if the weather is not favorable, you cannot go into agricultural production. And so, Mr. Speaker, it is proper and appropriate that this side of the House at the committee level registered that we are not going to support this motion. And indeed, I urge our colleagues on the other side that during your time, you have supported your government to borrow and overborrow and overborrow to the extent that today we cannot even pay. And for the first time, this country is even struggling to be admitted onto a program at the IMF. We are struggling. We are doing everything possible, but IMF is not admitting us. And still we have the courage to come and borrow and borrow and borrow again. For the first time, let's stand with the good people of Ghana and kick against this borrowing, so that Ghanaian people will know that Parliament of the Republic of Ghana is indeed pursuing their interests. We are not borrowing for borrowing's sake, but we borrow for something very, very important that will affect the generality of our people. Mr. Speaker, on this note, I disagree and cannot support this motion.
Mr. Speaker, it appears they ought to be reconciling some figures. The bottom line is that, Mr. Speaker, Get Fund is in deep crisis. The accruals to the fund can't match the operations of the entity. Mr. Speaker, as a result, as you may be aware, with evidence from your own constituency, many projects started by Get Fund are on suspension because the contractors have worked, raised certificates, and they can't be paid. Mr. Speaker, we ought to work tirelessly to resolve this, Mr. Speaker, because if we don't do this, Mr. Speaker, the situation where we had so many schools under trees, especially at the basic level, would come back. So, Mr. Speaker, whilst the Get Fund and the Ministry of Education is not ready to come with the formula, we want to remind them that it's important for Get Fund to work towards paying the arrears to contractors. Get Fund must be ready to actually do even new projects, Mr. Speaker, because there are so many communities that still don't have the full complement of the classrooms that they need to operate basic schools. Mr. Speaker, ultimately, the government must take up the responsibility to clear the debt under the Dachi arrangement, because it is just not possible for Get Fund to be able to work and pay this. But, Mr. Speaker, we should also be considering the fact that one of the problems confronting Get Fund is this very, very terrible law called capping. When Ghanaians pay that 2.5% towards Get Fund, they expect this money to go into resolving issues of education. But a chunk of this money is taken through capping, and it's not helpful. And we believe that if the Get Fund is decapped, more resources will flow into their account for them to do the things that you and I expect them to do. So, Mr. Speaker, I would encourage the ministry, as we are told that within 4 weeks or so, they will be able to resolve the issues and reconcile with Get Fund, and then by the time we return, they may be able to come with a formula. But, Mr. Speaker, we should also note that it's a situation where almost half the year, Get Fund is spending under a situation where it's difficult to tell how they got that authorization. So, Mr. Speaker, we can allow our colleague, the minister, to work towards making sure that by the time we return, the Get Fund formula, fit for purpose, is available, and that includes, Mr. Speaker, the ability for us to do new schools and complete the suspended or abandoned project. Mr. Speaker, with this few words, I thank you for the opportunity.
na mo di echo TVXYZ. Ye see what Ghana